Welcome to Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy G. I'm Glenn Granddaddy G. Bruno. And this past week on March 21st was World Poetry Day, a day to celebrate poets and poetry all over the world. So I'm going to start off with a poem I wrote that's called, What Has Poetry Ever Done for Me? What has poetry ever done for me? I've been writing it since the 7th grade. It never really got me paid. Maybe a couple of times it might have got me laid. What has poetry ever done for me? At a young age, I wanted to be a poet. What that meant, I didn't know it. I heard, what are you going to do, write poetry all day? You'll never make a living that way. Well, yeah, that turned out to be true. So in another direction I flew. But in the middle of that flight, I continued to write, and still do to this very day. My work has been rejected dozens of times. I've been told it's not really good poetry because it rhymes. Or I didn't have the proper qualifications, no English degree or certifications. I only have these words that pour out of my soul. They heal my wounds and help make me whole. The poems I write are like beacons of light to show me the way through the darkness of night. They have given me comfort and have set me free. That's what poetry has done for me. And poetry led me to my granddaughter and great-grandchildren, as I talked about last week, so that's obviously priceless. This next one is about politics. It's called War Again, in terms of Cold War. It's time for war again. The world cannot pretend. It makes a lot of people rich when there are bodies in a ditch. I'm all for self-defense. Killing doesn't make any sense. It's easy to say an eye for an eye when you're not the one who has to die. The hatred has grown so strong. Love has been missing for so long. In the name of God they fight. There's no way that can be right. The pain is universal. There must be a reversal. We need divine intervention. Too many wounds to heal to mention. My poem is but a prayer that someone is listening out there, so a wave of peace we may share. Inside hope, not despair. I know we can find a way, if we could start right now, today, to radiate love and peace around the earth. With our minds and spirits, we can give birth to a bright, wise, peaceful, and loving world. I hope we can. Now this one I wrote in 2017 after my grandson was born, but from what happened recently, I added another line. The poem was titled The Son of My Son, and now I've added The Daughter of My Daughter. The daughter of my daughter and the mother of my mother, the son of my son and the father of my father, may or may not have ever known each other. The river of their lives has flown and flowed over 100 years. The spirit inside thrives, watered by the same tears. The circle of life continues to expand in mysterious ways we can never understand. For every ancestor gone, there is a newborn one. We are moving toward a future we can never run from. When we start at the beginning, do we finish at the end? Or does everything start all over again? I think it does. I found another poem about my daughter Jasmine. Real short one. I'll read this since it has to do with the previous one. My daughter Jasmine was named after a flower. The white star-shaped petals that so fragrantly filled my mother's front yard on summer evenings in South LA. Although it was the jasmine essential oil sold by vendors on the Venice Beach boardwalk in the summer of 1972 that inspired us to choose that name. Her mom and I chose Andrea as a name early on, but decided on Jasmine at the last minute. It seems fitting that she was named after a beautiful, fresh, and invigorating scent, since that was her personality. Yes, it was. In the poem earlier, the first one I did, I mentioned I've been writing poetry since the 7th grade. And I distinctly remember that poem, although I don't know where it is. But these are all the poems that I haven't read yet on this series. So there's a lot to go. And some of the ones I found do go back to high school. You can see some of these old typewritten yellow papers. Even found a little book of poetry called Dreamers Never Made It Anyway. I'm going to delve into that next week. But the first poem that I ever, I guess what you might call, had published was in the high school yearbook for Mount Carmel High School. And the El Conquistador was the name of the yearbook. There you go. This is me, my friend Art Contreras, and Tom Hansen. We all worked on the yearbook together. And in the center of the yearbook, there was this pictorial section where there was art and poetry. And my poem is called To Be Aware. And I'll end with this one. I guess I was probably, this was my junior year, 1971. So my birthday's in April. I guess I would have been 15, 16. No, 16, yeah. To be aware of yourself, of the world around you, every moment that has passed throughout your lifetime, for without knowing those hours and seconds which have created your being, you would not exist. Time is the great creator, the ultimate reality. With time, you are entwined from your birth, always waiting for the next minute to pass. Life is time, a long process of finding out what life is. When you finally come to your own awareness, you learn that life is time, a time in which you learn that life is time. And this is awareness. Coming to a conclusion, any thought or idea which somehow explains the role and purpose of your existence. And each person's sense of awareness is different. For each person's life experience is different. So shall be their conclusions. The world is a chaos of beings searching for their awareness. Divine are they who arrive at that destination. Become aware. Thank you, everybody. See you next Sunday. Have a great week.